Ladies, gentlemen, esteemed non-binaries, and furs, Trashkin all, good evening and welcome to Trash Tier Gaming. I'm your humble host, and for the fourth time today, your friendly bi-neighborhood raccoon on the spectrum. So, we got one more chapter and the extras to get through, but we're going to have to do a double run of the chapter because I understand you can have it two. Pardon me. You can have it two ways. There are two endings, so let's get moving. Yep, we're in the hole. Season finale, please. Previously on The Last Door. After Kaufman's sudden death, Dr. Wakefield... And by the way, Trashkin, I don't know if that's Dr. Henry Armitage, because the actual Dr. Henry Armitage is a PhD, a doctor of letters. He might have some practical medical knowledge, he might not. That just may be a random Dr. Armitage. I think the reason I went with it is the timelines roughly line up for Dr. Armitage to be bopping about Europe, if not. So there's just a big blank of his early life. Anyhoozle, after Kaufman's sudden death, Dr. Wakefield travels to the island of Elismore to search for the ancient Chronmedian, a supposed path to the other side. He discovers the island's inhabitants hide a terrible secret. They instill primordial terror in ritual subjects for them to cross the door and come back as hideous abominations. Oh, and what I was trying to remember last time, I should pull that real quick. Un momento. That's it, the Mariulud. That was what I was looking for. It's a Wales tradition. But yeah, like, horse skull in recent years, but like they'll just show up and they'll have riddles for you, if I remember right. Wakefield is himself subjected to this ritual and transported to an endless land of fog, where he finally seems to meet his missing patient, DeWitt. Oh. Well, that is roughly where we were. He must be stopped. We have not come this far. Oh dear. To see our work ruined now. I think that's Alexandre. I think that's Dupree. Oh, right. Un momento. Alright, there we go. We left the black waves of that sea behind and walked through the mist. At times, gusts of winds parted the mist, revealing a barren landscape under a dying sun. At first, I could not contain my many questions, but DeWitt's only reply was a grave silence. Eventually, I lapsed into an uneasy quiet and resolved to follow my patient, I knew not where. We wandered through the vast desert without any apparent goal. On occasion, vague shapes appeared in the distance, crumbling towers and abandoned cities lost amongst the rippling dunes. The passage of time lost its meaning. I had traversed that world all my life, all the world's life. Our journey was an eternity. Then, the man at my side, whom I had followed so long, stopped. He spoke for the first time. We are nearing the threshold. It is the starting point, Doctor, the first place to look. I will be waiting on the other side. Remember this, I will not be here forever. Darkness will light your way, but then you will be alone. Season 2, Episode 4, the finale, Beyond the Curtain. Let's try it this way. Not a lot to work with here. What could my companion have met? The threshold. I knew of this. Strange memories returned to me after another life. Desert. Those cryptic words, the darkness will light your way. It was not the first time I had heard them. They were from a dream, a terrible dream I had when I began to follow. Oh. There I go, out pacing the irritation. Look to the sky, it reaches to the earth, but it will never meet. Can you see the magnificence of this infinite horizon, the cold, unattainable, all-consuming darkness? This is the outer limit of the threshold. Not far from here, the black waves of truth wash upon the veil that covers human eyes, and it falls apart. There is no death but rebirth. There is no void but awakening. Raise your arms, for the wind calls our name. The hour has come for us to take flight one last time. In this place, the ancient shadows created by human reasoning tremble in sheer terror. Its name is Zendala, the last curtain. The scorching light of this dead sunset bleeds through my petrified fingers. My eyes burn. I feel them melting like candle wax. Ooh, very slick looking. These runes, built by beings long forgotten, grant access to the last threshold. You are welcome to enter the runes, but you will need to find your own key in order to reach the threshold. Okay. The man at the entrance told me these runes contain access to the threshold, but I see nothing. DeWitt said it is the starting point, the first place to look. Darkness will light your way. What did he mean? I see nothing but runes. What was that DeWitt said? Darkness will light your way? I see nothing but runes. What about that? It looks like a poster for a theatrical show, but it has neither a title nor a date. Oh, the four witnesses. Perhaps it will prove useful. Idea what to do now. Hey, there's more. I'm too tired to go on. I keep seeking what was promised to us, but at least here I am safe from the terrible hazard of peering through my own shadow. The path is blocked by sharp rocks. I cannot make my way through. The path winds through the forest, but these trees are too dense for me to go any further. Hello. there's some progress to be made here. That seems familiar. Indeed. A silhouette of a strangely shaped hand. The pendulum strokes are sickly slow, but they seem to keep time in this place. A diffuse gray light seeps through the glass. Barely any light is entering. This way. Painting lacks any form or composition. They are a uniform shade of purest black. Oh, the purest black imaginable. Latched. Something inside the birdcage. Some kind of root. It seems to have a human shape. Huh. There's something inside that cage, a shadow staring at me with dead eyes. I can see something in it, no, through it, as though it were staring into a dark void, off in some remote distance. Colorful shapes flow in seemingly impossible patterns. Uh-oh. Did I goof? Oh, no, we did not goof. Jeremiah DeWitt, Edward Street, 24, Westminster, London, correct? I should cease stalling and send it. Set the plan in motion. But what then? Lead my old friend through this dangerous journey? Oh, back to the beginning. The very beginning. The shadow is gone now. There's something in the cage floor. A rusty key. Cage is open and the shadow is gone. Well, we've certainly gone into the abstract corner of action or adventure game. Lucky guess. Hello. What? The words of my father, so much has happened because of them. Alexandre swears that this time we will succeed, that the Hopo will undo all our mistakes, free us from the terrible haunting gaze. But should we not accept the consequences of our actions? My faithful companion, who kept many secrets with me over the long nights of research. A small bird that managed to lead the others through the treacherous fog. Raymundus chose an apt name for the compound. This letter, videt quisquit, see that no one knows. It will be enough, I think. It's time to send it. Just not sure that it's the right thing to do. All these books, their secret knowledge concealed for generations, waiting for some fool to unveil it all again. So many tests were needed to find it, but now that we have, Should I? No. We could stop. We could leave him be. It's not too late, is it? So much suffering, so many deaths. For what? What have we attained so far? Uh-oh. The shadow has vanished. A slate disc. Disc, it's made of something like slate. A large crack in the wall, a few rays of unearthly light stream through it. Worth a shot. Nope. Did you just twitch? Un momento, I gotta make a note. Okay, I think that's all we got here, so... Sure there's more to be done, but... Hello? Oh, right, in the first game, the bird. The ground is soaked in blood. Black feathers are strewn about. What happened here? Gramophone. No disc. Well, we have a slate. When I put the disc on the gramophone, it started spinning on its own. Wait. Is that a melody coming from the house? Uh-oh. Oh. Un momento. Oh, I got a case of Butterfingers today. Yeah, the problem is, the mouse shows up there. Here-ish. But it shows up on my other screen. It's not centered, so I'm occasionally clicking off screen when I don't intend to. Oof. That's a problem. Hold on. Now I get a good look at that. The hell is that? Rocks have been piled against the wall as if to conceal something. Well, I'm sure we'll find a way forward there. Oh, the lamps are on over there. Another door? Okay, that's trippy. Hello, old friend. How you been? A lynx. I took it for a stuffed lynx at first, but I think it's actually made of wax. I accidentally broke off a piece of its mouth. Now it's missing half its jaw. The hatch is locked. This reminds me of something. Yes, I remember. It was once fashionable to make impressions of church brasses and other old inscriptions. The practice was to overlay the inscription with paper and rub it with wax. I don't know where I need to come up with that, but... Uno momento. You know, Trashkin, looking at the scene, it reminds me just a little of the Blair Witch for a second. Well, we have a wax jaw. Nothing new here. Oh, it said there's something else new. Oh no, it's coming from here. We had a dead... Oh no. There's a dead cat on the floor. I think it's rotting. Her eyes are missing. Oh, you poor scruffit. Something on the floor beside her. Well, I guess we know what happened to the cat from the last game. I didn't want that answer. Well, we have a golden key. If memory serves, I had an entire... Hey, gold isn't really what you use to reinforce doors. Yeah, that's the time. That's the ticket. Okay. Pardon? You are of no worth to us anymore. There was barely any worth to begin with. Is this really the best option your supposedly brilliant mind could envision? A few meaningless words, a pathetic attempt of your guilt-shattered conscience to remedy the situation, and then you hope to wash the blood from your hands with a cheap exit? Look upon yourself, Anthony. See what you have become. Witness your only true legacy. Well, could have done without that. Is that Mr. Breechworth? I see something through the shadow, slowly taking form. Anna, sweetheart, how did this happen? You are how this happened. Too late. It's too late for us. But he can still choose. I have to warn him. So there was a tiny scrap of nobility left in Tony. It is not where we were. Okay. There's something on the ground, near where the masked person was standing. It's a fragment of a broken mask. A piece of a Greek tragedy mask. How do you know it's a tragedy mask? It's an ocular socket, sir. Well, let's assume I want to... There I go, butterfingering the tabs again. Alright, let's assume that there is something up there. The game is goofing with... The ladder is broken. Okay, fine. I didn't need this house of horrors anyway. Sure nothing new. Hello. There are two curious symbols engraved on the wall. Good to know. Feeling this game is going to start yo-yoing with us pretty hard. The gramophone has stopped. It seems I cannot get it to start playing again. Soaked in blood. What happened was our dear friend the Black Cat got a final meal. Well earned, I dare say. Goodbye, Blind Catto. You were a hell of a cat jump scare. Best I've seen in cat scares in a minute. It's a way through now. Oh, I know where we are. A large sea stack just off the beach. It seems to have a lonely demeanor. Back to school, Trashkin. You know, I normally deduct points for recycling settings. In this case, however, this is recycling with just enough zhuzhed up that I do not count it as simply recycling. On the one hand, it's good to reuse bits and pieces with a little bit of change to keep them fresh, but not to just drop the whole thing back in. Like, one of my favorites is actually in Silent Hill, the original. There's a section called Nowhere, and it is just like there are all these areas you couldn't get to, the areas you had been, and they sort of use that negative space. There's a hole in the ground. I have seen gardeners digging holes like this when they need to transplant trees. These trees are the only reminder of life around here. It's as if they are guarding the statue. Well, let's examine the statue. Underneath the statue's hood, there is an empty hole where a face should be. I remember seeing statues like this in Professor Wright's garden. Shadows linger in Zellenthal, like insects trapped in a cobweb. At its center, the spider lies in wait. Hello? The shadow of a child is sitting in the corner, shaking in terror. As if peering through a keyhole, I can see things moving in the darkness. Flashback number. Well, I've actually lost count. What? I like the style, but those themes. Does Lena approve this kind of art? You have not lost your old sense of humor, Alexandre. Even after what happened. Do you not recall that sight? I would erase the memory if I could. I find that pain makes it easier to bear. What brings you here anyway? It's been years since we've heard from you. I thought our old cause had been long forgotten. Listen, Ashdown. What if I told you I have found a way of crossing safely? I would call you a madman and a fool to your face. What the? Un momento, Trashkin. I gotta check some things. Yep, Trashkin. Turns out I forgot to dial off the old Discord notifications again. Whoops. The shape of an eye is painted on the blackboard. Dazzling light shines through the windows. Oh, nothing changed here. What about... Will I have a root? And a willingness to shove my hands in dirt. Don't get me wrong, I like a protagonist that is willing to get their hands dirty, but it's well covered. What if we... Way! I think my brain just kicked over. What if we make an impression of the symbols back at the house? Oop. You're new. Piano missing a key. I don't have a key on me, and I don't think there's anything else to interact with here. I'll remember you for later, piano, which no doubt will result in a piano puzzle that will halt my progress for whole minutes. What? A colossus born of rock and craftsmanship, regulated to the briny waters of this nightmare and to the emotions and injury and despair. Where are we getting that from? Hold on. Missing most of its keys. Really like to stop doing that, just... Alright. There's a disgorged coffin. Two symbols. One's fashion. Yes. With the wax. So if I rub the wax on the poster... There we go. Mountains, snook. These statues, it's almost as if they're children of the standing stones that dot the horizon. They are less weathered and weather-beaten at any rate. A massive tree has grown underneath the coffin, bursting it open. Some macabre artist has placed a life-size statue inside. Was it placed by a visitor, or does it represent another memory? Was the statue somehow... No, I cannot bear to think of it. Beneath the statue's hood, it bears an evil grin. Okay. Peering into one's own truth is forbidden. Were the snake and the bird to meet, were the snake and the bird to meet, okay, that one's throwing me. To meet ultimate madness would take in human. Can't make out that last. V-O-R. Trump? Yeah, that doesn't make sense. The bird and the snake must not meet. Well, that certainly is a change of pace. Flashback the 6th, I think? What is this? Shapes are forming in the shadow. I cannot look away. I must see. Giving us a mind's eye view into each of the 4. His name is Professor Wright. Right, yes. I've recently had occasion to meet a disciple of his. He referred to himself as a psychotherapist. I had the impression that Wright's methods more closely resemble those of my trade than yours. He is eccentric indeed, but I think his thesis may be proven correct. So if we might have found a way of reaching the threshold without attracting the attention of the custodian, a shortcut, you might say, a shortcut for the bail. The problem is in the method itself. It has some unusual requirements, and we would need a man of great sensitivity who knows the perils of reaching the door. Somebody getting voluntold here? Feel like somebody's getting voluntold here. Planks have been nailed over the windows, but to what purpose? There aren't enough planks to provide protection or keep out light. A giant shrine of an eye. It looks more like Saturn and the rings surrounding it. It looks like a music sheet. It was left on the desk. Dun 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 dun. Alright, so. Or like a climb, real like. Alright, well, let's see where this takes me. Surprise! Well, it doesn't mean I can play either piano. What happens on one side affects the other. Alright, let's... Well, let's try the other side, shall we? What happens on one side affects the other, after all. I do enjoy a good mirror puzzle. Though the first mirror puzzle for me was the hopping through the magic mirror in Prince of Persia. Yeah, that one got me real bad because I wanted to beat my shadow. A piano key. Well, that'll do. That will do. I only need the one after all. I think I could play the melody. However, the piano is missing one of the keys that I would need to use. Not anymore, it's not. The key fits perfectly. The melody seems simple enough. I think I could manage to play it. That exits. Okay. Okay, that tears it. Guide, un momento. Okay, day. I see where I goofed. There's no indication I've gotten that correct. Okay. Hey, there we go. As I suspected, the melody I heard at Wright's mansion. What's that? It's coming from another place. Success! I don't know what it is, but piano puzzles often confound me if I haven't solved it once. Occasionally, I just don't get it right. Like, I attempted to read it from... Oh! I didn't spot that it was reversed, that I pulled it from the reverse. Hold, and it was backwards. Okay. That was not what I was expecting. A terrifying shape looms where the piano once stood. It's being pulled on threads like some sort of monstrous puppet. The threads converge on a distant point. Something is taking form there in the darkness. In the darkness! What? It's our old classroom, but that shadow, who? This is not possible. The shape's beyond the light. My fingers, no. Don't come any closer. My hand! My hand! Uh-oh. So that's what befell the artist. Seems like everybody but Alexandre got the worst of it. And like, Alexandre only didn't get the worst of it because he was... What? Some on the ground where the person was lying. Fragment of a broken mask. Again, how do you know it's tragedy? So far you have a hairline and 2 eye sockets. Alright, let's head back to the mansion and lift that wee bit of to-do. So we rub the wax and then we stamp it on the paper. I haven't heard of that form of transference, but must have been a thing. Yeah, it seems the right shape. Laying the poster on the stone. So I rub the wax on the paper. Okay. Copy the symbols. Of course. Problem is, I have no idea what to do now. I have to admit, as finales go, this ain't bad. This is some good pop fly twists, you know? I like them anyway. Aha. There's now enough room in the trees for us to pass. Ooh. 2 curious symbols carved in stone. I think those are the last 2, but keep an eye out all the same. Weird tree, weirder tree, mountain, snake, and V. Oh, hello there. A tall figure stands in the woods. I might have taken it for a tree if it were not breathing heavily. Inside I can see things near the threshold, getting closer and closer. Oh dear. Again? All four. After what happened to Father Glynn, I think they will shut down the school. Anthony, that thing we saw, I don't know what it was. But what about your father's diary? Myths, legends, superstitions with no bias in scientific observation. Anthony, talk to us. All right. My father discovered several ancient myths pertaining to the Vale. They come from a variety of cultures, hence they may take different forms, but all say something similar about what resides near the threshold. An ancient being that sleeps within the fogs, protecting the door from intruders. A vengeful custodian. But no matter, at any rate, my serum was a failure. We got but a glimpse of what exists out there. Nothing conclusive. What if the serum had worked? I don't know. As I said, I have no data. And those myths, what do they say? Those tales, they all say that if any intruder got too close and was discovered by what sleeps in the fogs, then the custodians would be relentless. Or the custodian would be relentless. It would pursue the intruders and destroy them, wherever they might hide. There would be few ways to protect themselves from its rage. That tree shadow's quite good. Just took me until just then to notice it. Like that, it was no more. Uh-oh. Am I being lost woods? I feel like I'm being lost woods. Let's assume I'm too stubborn to turn back. Oh, we're not done. We are so not done. Hello. That is not the starting symbol, I don't think. Oh no, that is. Alright, let's check it out. That'd be the one. And we're looking for mountain. Not you. Okay. Betting you. Not you. How about you? Oh dear. Okay, I guess I pick one and hope. I may have goofed. Is there another one? The in symbol's here as well. Alright, let's work it in reverse then. Nope. Unless those symbols changed, wrong throws me back. Alright, let's just make sure that one hasn't changed. Nope. Okay. So that's the correct symbol. It's the correct path. We're looking for mountain. Or squiggle, depending on how you interpret that. Not you. Alright, let's try you anyway. Damn it. Alright, here. Here. Here? Nope. Okay, we're out of options, so it must be the third. One I haven't taken. Bingo. Now we're looking for Snook. Snook. Train. No, that's not it. Yeah, we're looking for the weird angly one. No, that's mountain. That's triangle. I feel like I goofed. Oh dear. Right there. Here. Not you, not yet. Not you. Was it you? Give it a go. Nope. Un momento, Trashkin. I think it's time to consult the guide. Okay, I see my mistake now that I look at the guide. The mountain and the snake came from the mirror side so that it reversed. So it goes, yeah, snake, mountain, the others. Okay. Okay, so that's where my logic failed me. It's Bizarro World. Bizarro World of Glyphs. Oh, that's mountain. we go. Snook. Tree. Up tree. Right. Mountains over here. Yep, there we go. I think you're it. Well, that's Snook. Yeah, we're looking for that V. Or this one. V's next. Not you. What about you? That's the one. What? Is this Devet? A shadow strongly resembling my patient stands in the clearing. I can see through it just like the other shadows. 4 men making careful preparations, I know not for what. Oh, the night of. Do you think? So that was their first fumbling attempt. This captain, Skid. Devitt, are you certain that he can guide us safely through the fog? His results are extraordinary, Anthony. It's the best chance we have of avoiding the gaze of the custodian. There can be no doubt that the captain survived an encounter before. He even kept a companion from harm. We will finally see what lies beyond the curtain. It's time. Well, that's mortifying. Oh, that explains the axe in the painting. Oh my. That's also incredibly off-putting. Description reads, pretty birds. Huge statue of a mythical creature. It's a bird with the head of a wolf? Or is it a lion? Well, let's consider this way. Oh boy, a climb! Certainly hope no simians or great apes are throwing barrels down. That would be horribly unfortunate. Hello. An enormous black feather. Despite its size, it's extraordinarily lightweight. The summit rises above the fog, although all I see is fog and an endless ocean of clouds. What? What is that noise? Something's out there. It's getting closer. Burp. The burb has taken vengeance for the first game. Not being kind to crows. Is he asleep? He is now. It has been so long. I had begun to lose hope that he would ever awaken. Were you able to speak with him? Anthony, David has forgotten everything. Everything. Good heavens. It may be for the best. Our research is likely to take some time. If he truly has amnesia, His condition will protect him until we are ready. But should we fail, remember what happened to Hugo. Ashdown entered the Vale in full knowledge of what might happen. And we will succeed where Bright failed. We will use the serum to induce primal tear in a controlled environment. In one stroke, we shall overcome all of our obstacles. But when the time comes, we must have a means of guiding our dear friend back to us. Is he your dear friend? There he will be safe. Was he your dear friend, or was he just a means to an end? Hello. There's something on the ground near where the masked person was laying. It's a fragment of a broken mask. Well, let's slap that back together. An eyeless mask, similar to the one I found in Alexandria's safe house. We have a mask, we have a feather, we have a wax jaw. I don't think there's anything left for us here. Perhaps it's time I put on the mask. The mask is eyeless. I cannot see a thing. Let's see what happens when we go to the rune itself. Try. Hello! A man standing next to the curtain. Un momento, Trashkin. I gotta refresh the old beverage. Alright, let's get to it. Welcome, Dr. Wakefield. Alexandre Dupree. Yes, I have been waiting for you. We all have. How did I get to this place? I thought that I was in that pit in Ellis Moor. When suddenly I found DeWitt and he disappeared, I journeyed through the fog and found myself here, but how's this possible? Ellis Moor. I do not know that name. Many paths in our world lead to this place, Dr. Wakefield. And I know only a few. In some of Zalil's mirrors, you see the truth leaking into our world, and in others you see yourself. I knew you would reach us at last. He was certain of it. He, the first founder of the Order, the Artifex. Do you not yet know his name? Ashdown? Do you mean Mr. Ashdown? No, Hugo came here long before the rest of us, but he made a terrible mistake. He peered into his own truth, and he was transformed. Do you not yet know his name? Do you mean Mr. Beechworth? No, Anthony started the group at school, but by the end of his life, he had lost the determination to go any further. Jeremiah DeWitt. Truth can be hard to accept. Yes, Jeremiah gathered us all under the same rule. See that no one knows. We knew the final truth which lay beyond the threshold. That is what the playwright was committed to finding. This was Jeremiah's obsession. The first language which is said to grant the power of creation. After our experiment at school, we realized that the path of the Ancient Ones was watched by a fearsome guardian. We need a way to circumvent the inexorable gaze of the bird. I found Captain Skid, who had met the bird and lived. We decided to use him in a test. It was catastrophic. We eventually found the survivors, but their memories were incomplete. Jeremiah had fared the worst. He had been left devoid of any memories that were related to our efforts. We were desperate to find a solution. Hugo tried and failed, and then Anthony, and I miraculously came across a formula that had lain forgotten for centuries. At last, it was time to bring Jeremiah back into our ranks. It was nearly a disaster as well. I did not anticipate Anthony's sudden madness or the extent of Father Ernst's decline. Mercifully, Jeremiah's life was spared, but something else was wrong. When Jeremiah reached me, he did not remember everything. He had changed. He told me that he was going to put an end to all of this. He still means to acquire the first language, but he wants to use it to ruin our work. He has already crossed the threshold. Once he learns the final truth, none of us will ever have existed. The Order, the Door, or ourselves. You must stop him, Doctor. You must stop him before the curtain closes forever. So our choices is to let it all burn, or to save Jeremiah. Once more I found myself enshrouded in dense fog. Gradually the fog dissipated, revealing a busy street in London. Dizzy and exhausted, I wandered the streets until at last I returned home. I barely recognized it. I crossed the dusty threshold like an intruder. I noticed for the first time that I was holding the robe of the playwright in my hand. I kindled a fire, threw it, and threw the robe into the flames. As I watched it burn, I remembered the black ocean. I had stood there on the beach, staring up at the terrifying heights of vertiginous Mount Quoth, where the verve is said to lie. Then someone touched my arm. It was Dr. Wakefield. Our encounter on the endless dunes had not been an illusion. In his quest to find me, he had ventured into the veil itself. He said nothing, but it was not necessary. He had come to take my place, to sacrifice himself. He stayed behind and closed the door after giving me the chance to escape. His reasons I will never know. I don't know what happened to Alexandre and the others, but I fear that they are trapped in Zaiflan. In Zahir and Brain. They are trapped in Zanfell for all time. I stared at the endless rain splattering against the window, and I remembered that I had something else to do. Last promise to keep. Videt ni quisciat. See that one knows. Who still knows? No, seriously, is there anyone that still knows? Well, that's excellent. But we're gonna interrupt these credits. I can't skip the credits. I guess we're sitting through the credits then. And then we're gonna go back. We're gonna see what what the wait option is, if we simply allow this all to come tumbling down. Though I kind of like Wakefield being noble enough to take Jeremiah's place. Like, it feels very noble. Very stupid and heroic. I like it. Of the two, I think that's my favorite. I have to say, I'm glad Games Kitchen is still out there cranking out games. Like, I'm really gonna have to check out Blasphemous. Like, I'd seen bits and bobs and I was saving it for a rainy day, but I'm gonna have to meander in a little bit. See what the Petkin one gets up to in 1 and 2. I know I have a copy of Blasphemous, the original. I may have to pony up for 2. I want to see what this bunch gets up to. I suppose the question is, do I go for the other ending now, or do I do the extras? You know, knowing how it all comes together, I think we'll do second ending, and then we'll get busy. Right. Made possible thanks to all the backers. You're awesome. I don't know why crowdfunding game feels good when it all comes together. It just does. Vivit ni quisquet. See that no one knows. The end. Is there a post-credit sequence? Hmm? Why? Just thinking, why am I still hearing stuff? Hello. Yes, the C stack. Thanks for playing. Alright, let's flip a coin. Heads, we do the second ending. Tails, we do the extra. Coin is tails. Alright, the mask with no eyes. The inner circle is gathered once again. The whole cycle has passed since the last playwright traveled to the land of shadows and fog. Now the mask with no eyes has chosen a new bearer. The path between worlds will be visited once again, and the veil upon human eyes shall be lifted forever. That doesn't sound good. The playwright meets now. The custodian of the threshold. It's now the custodian of the threshold. An ancient being guards the door of mist. May the playwright take its light and stand by its watch unnoticed. 4 wisps of fog shall reveal the truth. Alright. Don't need to be bright to work out what needs to be lit here. The fire of dawn scorches through the barren desert. The austral flame shines within the dark forest. The pyre of Zephyrus glows in the dark ocean. The boreal embers brighten the dark sky. The playwright will stand in the center. The playwright thinks you should have mentioned the stage direction before I showed up. And the curtain will be drawn at last. All that work to shut the damn door. And then its eyes were open. And we get a flash of that from before. The new bearer. I think they'll get to it when they're good and ready. Alright, Trashkin. I am going to spare you the rerun. Get straight to the curtain. We'll drop back in at the playhouse. So, uno momento. And just for the sake of form, let's see what that other indie is. Down we go. We looked for you. Truly sorry about your friends. Sometimes terrible fates befall the companions of travelers. The other world protects itself. It conceals itself within a veil, and it reacts violently when that veil is disrupted. I knew you would reach us. He doubted Kaufman would make it, but he knew you would. He, the first founder of the Order, the Artifix. Do you yet know his name? Well, I do this time. Devik? Truth can be hard to accept. Yes, Jeremiah gathered us all under the same rule. Vivik ni qui skiet. See that no one knows. We knew the final truth which lay beyond the threshold. This is what the playwright was committed to finding. This was Jeremiah's obsession. The first language, which is said to grant the power of creation. After our experiment at school, we realized that the path of the Ancient Ones was watched by a fearsome guardian. We needed a way to circumvent the gaze of the bird, the inexorable gaze. There we go. Of the bird. I found Captain Skid, who had met the bird and lived. We decided to use him in a test. It was catastrophic. We eventually found the survivors, but their memories were incomplete. Jeremiah had fared worst. He had been left devoid of any memories that were related to our efforts. We were desperate to find a solution. Hugo tried and failed. And then Anthony and I miraculously came across a formula that had lain forgotten for centuries. At last, it was time to bring Jeremiah back to our ranks. That was nearly a disaster as well. I did not anticipate Anthony's sudden madness or the extent of Father Ernst's decline. Mercifully, Jeremiah's life was spared, but something else was wrong. When Jeremiah reached me, he did not remember everything. He had changed. He told me that he was going to put an end to all of this. He still means to acquire the first language, but he wants to use it to ruin our work. He has already crossed the threshold. Once he learns the final truth, none of this will have ever existed. The Order, the door, or ourselves. You must stop him, Doctor. You must stop him before the curtain closes forever. I don't have to do anything this time. I'd say it's worth it to save Jeremiah. I'd not say it's worth it for you. The moment has passed. It is too late. We are doomed. Wakefield's fate. Once more, I found myself enshrouded in dense fog. Gradually, the fog dissipated, revealing a busy street in London. The mask that I had worn lay on the ground, melting like wax over the wet cobblestones. Dizzy, exhausted, I wandered the streets until at last I returned home. It seemed very small, as it always does after a long journey. As I removed my coat, I found a feather in one of the pockets, the same one that I had discovered before being engulfed by the black mass of the Simrak. With a jolt, I realized that it had not been a dream, and I was ashamed at how quickly I had deluded myself into thinking otherwise. I kindled a fire and placed the feather on the crackling flames. As it burned, I heard the distant calls of crows. The street, despite the heat, I shivered. My patient and my friend Jeremiah DeWitt had sacrificed himself. He had accepted the consequences of his friend's actions and his own as well. He had crossed the threshold, leaving the veil through the red curtain of truth, forever closed the last door that had led to those horrors. But I had not found the strength to follow him. I could not take his place. I doubt that I will ever learn the fates of those who remain there, those who are hopelessly trapped in Zahith Zalethal. I've been playing this for 2 games. I still can't pronounce it. My thoughts now turn increasingly to the last mission to which my friend Kaufman entrusted me. I must make sure that no one ever learns what we discovered. All right, I'll spare you the credits and we'll bring it on back for final thoughts. Uno momento. Man, I should have got around to this a lot earlier because this is some good point-and-click horror. Like, I knew it was something special when I saw it years ago in Flash form. I'm glad they finished it out. I'm curious to see if they'll ever work their way back to it, but Games Kitchen's doing just fine. Anyway, that's going to do it for Halloween. You can tune back in tomorrow at noon to catch the first of the Halloween hangover with Redfall. We're doing 2 runs as 2 characters, one than the other. The first one longest, and the second one considerably shorter once I know what I'm doing. Alright, Trashkin. Thank you all for coming out. It's been terrific. Happy Halloween, and we'll do it all again next year. Good night.